Hello everyone, welcome to my studio, and today we're going to have our version of Starry Nights 2.0. By now you have some stuff that you got to work that we'll go over in just a minute. But the first thing is, I want to show you what we painted last year. You remember all these curvy lines, the stars, Venus, and all these wavy clouds, and how we created all these with lines. Remember all that? And then we saw the horizon, we saw the lines, but what if we were to concentrate on something very small from all this, just to get different details? How about the chapel? The chapel has straight lines. So what if we were to get something from here and just concentrate on something like this? You see, this is the chapel. And what you see now, you still see some of the curvy lines, or you see straight lines, right? Well, we're going to work on something like this. Just so that you know, there are many versions of the chapel that are from the Starry Nights painting. And we were perusing in the web and we found this chapel. And it's a very cool chapel, right? Has color, you can see the starry night sky, but also what's interesting is you can see some snow and some snowflakes, right? So what we're going to do today is learn how to do this with a different technique that I showed you on Starry Nights version 1.0 that I did, that is called pointillism. And we're going to go over that in just a second. But before we do that, we're going to have to learn a few things so then we can achieve this, okay? So, if I were to combine the blue and the yellow, see, it looks green. If I combine the yellow and the red, see, it looks orangey. It's called pointillism. And pointillism, what it means, is that you create a figure by using dots. Pointillism means dotism, is the same thing. So instead of drawing lines or brush strokes or so, you're going to create dots. And you can do the same thing if you put a lot of paint, then you can create larger dots. Okay? Now the theory of pointillism is very important because you don't want to make too many dots together, okay? You don't want to do this because then it just creates a bleb. The idea of pointillism is that when you combine the primary colors that I show you, if you put them together, it's going to play a trick on your eye and it's going to make it look like a different color. So let's practice that. Let's say that I put random red dots, okay? And you want to make sure that they're random. So now, if I put the dots in between, not touching the red, but in between, see, if you look at it from a distance, it's going to make it look purple. Okay? If you put lots of dots together, it's going to make something look kind of dark. Okay? And then put them apart, right? They're still dots, but there is a lot of the white that comes through, so it makes it look like it's lighter, right? So if I put them together, it gives you the impression of more color. And actually it is more color, but the farther apart the points or the dots, the lighter the image is going to be. So I'm creating some sort of image, okay? But I want the light to come from this side. So then I can go to my yellows, right? And then when I go like this, see what's gonna happen. So just following the same image, I'm creating all these dots. And as I'm creating all these dots, I'm not following a pattern, and then I'm going to put some of these dots in the middle where the other dots were, right? So you have an idea that this all belong to the same. Okay? And I can put just a little bit of the blue in between here. See? Right next to the other. Don't overlap them, don't put them on top of each other. And then, see, it looks lighter from this side and it looks darker from this other side, right? So that's the idea of using the colors. The yellow will represent where the light is coming through, and then you can make your image darker with the darker tones, either the red or the blue, or the combination of them. What we're going to do now, I know I have this desk that I can work with, but probably you don't all have a desk. So what we're going to do is use the largest desk of all, and that is the floor. Okay, so here we are on the floor, and we have all our stuff, right? So we have the drawing of the chapel, so we're going to use this to give us an idea as to what we're going to do. And you can have your plate, just any regular paper plate or whatever you want to use to put some colors. And then you have these colors, and these are really nice acrylics, and they come with a variety of already made colors. Okay, so the explanation of the colors was for you to know what to do to reach what you want to reach. But if you want to already use the pre-made colors, it's perfectly fine. So you have this, and then you have all your brushes. And when we do pointillism, because we're going to be making dots, you want to probably use one of the brushes that is a finer point of the bristles, but also remember that you have the other side of the brush, and this will also help you make points, okay, or dots. So you can use anything that you can put color on, like a dot. If you want to, you can even use the back of your pencil to do that. So we have all these tools. We have our pencil, we have the eraser, sharpener, the colors, paper towel, you want to keep it clean, and then we have some water. So then when we use the brush, if we want to use the same brush for different colors, make sure you clean in between, or if you want to, you can use one brush for one color and another brush for another color, and so on. It's however you want to do it, okay? So let's put all these things aside. You remove one of the pages, put the hard part away, and then you can use this as your chapel, right? So you see everything looks pretty good, except for the bottom. So the bottom I want to draw a new one. And then this one doesn't matter, I can just erase it. So, or I can paint over it. One thing I want you to do is, if you make, I would say I made a Google with this, right? But it doesn't really matter. I just keep going. Because in art, you're not going to make books. So you don't have to scratch all over and start. So if something happens, and just keep doing it. So remember, we have the chapel, and we divided it in thirds, right? So 1/3 will be around here. 1/3 will be around here, right? And then we're going to create our roof line. So the roof line is right in the middle of this chapel, right? So you can tell it's in the middle. So how can you gauge the middle on this piece of paper? Well, do the following. Grab your pencil and go one side, and guess where the middle is, and then turn the pencil on the other side, and it looks about the same, right? Because you can count on the dots of the pencil. So the middle is somewhere around here, which is somewhere around here, right? And then I have to create a line that will show this, right? So it's a straight line from one side to the other. And this can be a little tricky, so use your pencil and just put it right in the middle, and then move your pencil like this and make a little dot. Okay, and then use your paper, and then you can make a line that goes from here to here, like so. And then you can make a line that goes from here to here, like so. Oops, you see, I made it. Okay, so that's our chapel. And then we're going to connect this to this. You see, it looks pretty equal, right? So now we have the shape of the chapel. And then you're wondering, why does it have an empty glass right next to the canvas? Because we're going to use this, that I know everyone has a glass at home in the kitchen, and this is going to help us make this circle. So put your glass right there, and you look center, okay, and then we're going to create a circle. So you just go around it, and that is our circle. So far so good, right? This was about 1/3 here, and then this was about the other third here. It doesn't have to be precise. So here, remember on the third, there it looks like part of this window is down at the bottom, right? So you can just draw a line and just rest your hand on the canvas, okay, and then draw a line that goes parallel to the wall, and then don't go all the way to the bottom, you see? So now you draw a line, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side, and then you join it. So that's one. And then see the distance here? So imagine you have around the same distance here, and then just draw another line, and another line, and another line. They do not have to be perfect, okay? We're not using rulers, we're not using numbers, we're just using our eye and things that we can do freehand. And then you see in the middle, there's that big door, right? So we're going to squeeze that door right here. So we have to create a line that goes further down. You see, it goes all the way to the bottom. Okay, and then another line that goes all the way to the bottom. Right? So now we have this. And you can see on the other third, okay, we have this image. So you make it a curve, and then you go down. Okay, you make it a taller curve, and then you go down. And then you make it a curve, and you go down. Okay? And so that's what we have. Now, so remember how you can do this. But we're gonna do that with the colors, okay? So now, let's get it open and get started with colors. So, just to go over these stars again, remember how we painted them last year? So we're going to go through our lighter color first, and I'm just going to make circles. So I have the yellow, and let's say this star is sort of around this level, right? So I'm just going to make this light like this, okay? And then a little bit more here, a little bit more here. And then you can see there's a little bit of white. So I want to take advantage of the canvas, because the canvas is white, so I just want to show. And then what happens is when I use the yellow and the blue, you see in the middle of it, it looks a little bit green, right? So I can use some of the blue, okay? You see, it can go like this. And you see how it starts looking a little bit green? And then I can use a little bit more of the primarily blue, okay? And just go like that. It doesn't have to be exact. I can use different blue. Okay, and then you can use larger strokes. Okay, and then you can use some with quite a bit more of paint. Okay, and then remember, we can do all this, and then just go back to your other colors and mix them up. Okay.